Hi everyone, my name is Charu Gupta. I'm the marketing director here at InCrowd, and I'm joined today by Ben Currie, who's director of engineering on our product team, and Monami Choudhury, who is a project manager on our client services team. And both of them work very closely with market research technology and are here to help us think about what are some technology features that everyone should be thinking about. And the two topics they wanted to focus on today are pre-profiling or micro-profiling of respondents and excluding previous respondents. Can you tell me a little bit, Monami, about your experience? I know you signed up for a consumer-based panel. What was that experience like?
Yeah, so it was really important for me to kind of understand what a respondent experience is like while participating in market research. So I took it upon myself to sign up for a few panels, participate in some surveys, and basically understand what do respondents go through on a regular basis when they're answering surveys. And what I got out of that is that there's a lot of the same questions that are being asked over and over again. So things like my date of birth, my salary, the state I live in. And if you really think about it, these are pretty static questions that don't change frequently over time. And you're answering a significant amount of questions before you actually get to the content of the survey, which leads to respondent exhaustion really quickly.
So we're talking about a much lengthier survey, and a survey with information you or I or a physician in our case is filling out over and over again. So,
Correct.
Ben, how can technology solve this problem?
Sure. So signing on with a panel, is a contract with the panelist, and that can be a really good relationship if you build trust with them. And a good way to build trust is not pestering them with these questions repeatedly, and really allowing them to think about the content of the survey itself.
I feel like what you're describing is sort of a database that pre-screens, and respondents are entering surveys based on age, based on demographic, based on gender criteria, and other criteria. We're in the life sciences space, so therapeutic area, practice setting, all of that. That's all filtered through the back end, and so when they open the survey, it's just cutting right to the chase,
right,
in a sense.
Yeah, and for the respondent, they get to answer their survey without having to deal with these pre-appended questions. And additionally, for someone who's fielding these surveys to these people, they have a little bit more confidence in who they're getting, and they're going to be able to more quickly fill that survey because they're going to have a much higher incidence rate than they would otherwise.
So looking for providers that have these databases to pre-screen is going to mean that the respondents are getting shorter surveys and surveys with questions that they're truly interested and engaged in answering. So definitely something to look out for. Well, let's talk about the second cool technology feature.
But market researchers tend to try to figure out the best questions that they want to ask respondents. So in order to get to that point, they may do a soft launch, which means that from a small sample size, they're able to figure out if they need to adjust the questions they're asking, if they are asking the correct questions before they go out to a larger mass of those respondents. And by doing that, they're able to exclude previous respondents. So that means they'll be going out to a new pool of respondents, and that will completely eliminate bias from the respondents. Another aspect where it's really prevalent is concept testing, something that's really common in the market research industry. And there are instances where a survey can be launched with a couple of concepts, and maybe an hour into fielding, the researcher will realize, okay, I need to add a concept. And when that happens, they can launch a new survey with the new concepts added in. And again, they can exclude previous respondents and bring in a new diverse pool of respondents to review those concepts as well. Again, eliminating sample bias, respondent bias, and it's also diversifying the data, and you're working with a smaller pool of people to get that intuitive data.
Interesting. So That sounds really incredible. What's the technology at work behind that?
Certainly a deep integration with the panel, because just as with being able to pre-screen, we need to know who these people are and quickly respond to it. Because in all of these cases, your researcher is reacting to something that's happening, whether it's a business requirement that's changing or initial data is coming in and it's not quite adhering to what was expected. They need to be able to react quickly, and they can react quickly when a platform is providing the ability to exclude previous respondents or just have a clear idea of who they're going out to. By automating this, you would otherwise be stuck in a situation where maybe you need to communicate with a panel vendor for a few hours after something gums up the works, and getting it started again might take a few hours to a few days. But if it's all automated, then you're going to be able to react quickly to the data you see and ultimately get a better response with less spend.
Yeah, some of the horror stories I've heard without the automation and the technology to exclude previous respondents in particular is spreadsheets and importing and exporting CSV files, and the layers of not only manual labor but human error that can be inserted into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually personally a big fan of any way that you can eliminate human error. And at the end of the day, it's really a tech solution that takes the human aspect out of it, completely automate it.
And emailing with a vendor email is slow these days. So emailing with a vendor, it could take a few days to get that thing righted. So using a technical solution speeds up your ability to respond.
Great. Well, thank you both for joining us in our InCrowd studios today.
Thank you.
And lots to think about. And thank you everyone for joining us. And stay tuned. We'll be back with other cool technology features and market research for you to think about in the near future. Thank you.